I somehow managed to finish my day at SSC, and the next day when I moved back, I had to go back for the volunteering. Okay, and that was, they had given us a location which was a very internal location. It was almost 30-40 minutes away from the balcony. I was like, okay, fine. The best part about the youth hostel that I was staying is, earlier it was a mental asylum of room. My God, my brother is like, Jovita, you reached the right place. The best part is because it was a mental asylum. On the walls, okay, they have lovely paintings of like, a Joker and all. So if you look at these paintings, and that it's black and white. If you look at it in the night, it's pretty. They had more volunteers. The volunteers who were at the food stall and giving food, they didn't really have much work to do. But I don't know why I was so blessed. I got to work. My volunteering duty was at Santa Maria Maggiore, which is a basilica of Mary Major. For 3 days I had duty over there. And all 3 days I had a duty near the tomb of Pope Francis. So that was like the best part.
For all of us.
I literally prayed for everyone, because the whole point is, because there was so much crowd over there. Okay, like I had to literally manage like around over 2 to 3 lakh of people every day. That's why he saw me on the last day, where I was, on my last day, second last day, right? So that's when he saw me, and then I was just sitting down, because every time you can't stand.
She didn't recognize also.
He looked at me, right? Yeah, because the thing is that chapel was so big, okay. Best part is I never realized that, see, it's like ghar ki murgi dal barabar. If you are put in a place, you will not know the beauty of that place, okay? Because I just saw it once, I entered the holy doors and all, and I'm like, what is it? Why are people going down and all? Then I'm like, I just took a break, I went around to see the church. And then I realized the relic of the crib of Jesus is kept over there below. Then I realized the painting done by Saint Luke of Mary and Jesus is around in the chapel around over there. I heard mass in that chapel for like 3 days. The first day I just moved out. I'm like, why are these? And every time there's a cardinal. I'm like, why is this cardinal not even going? He's waiting over there. And I could not really understand, because it was all Italian. So either they used to say the Memorare or the Angelus, okay? And then they used to kind of move out. I never understood. The first day I moved out, the second day I was like, no, I will wait for the priest to go. And then I noticed, I'm like, oh, that door closes. So the door the painting where Saint Luke has painted Mother Mary and baby Jesus, okay? It's more or less like our Lady of Perpetual Suffering, a similar picture. Okay, it's over there, it's on top. And then what happens is, after the 6 o'clock mass, we say the Angelus, and then a door closes. Okay, there's an automatic door which closes, and people wait for that. The priest waits for that. They say the Angelus, the priest waits for that, and then he kind of moves out. So that was something. Then the third day, I was like, I will record this now. I will definitely share it with you. I'm like, this is something what has to be recorded. So then that happened, and then on the third day I was so tired that I just go to the washroom outside, and then there's this whole ice cream guy, and they have this snow ice cream or whatever. I don't know the history. I'm telling you, till 5th of August I didn't know the history. Yeah, a gelato. Yeah. And it was like a snow ice cream. I'm like, what is this got to do? Okay, I didn't know, but I was like, okay, fine, let me just have one, because I had decided that since I'm going over there, the only thing that I want to spend my money on is eating ice cream. So I decided I will eat that ice cream, okay? And the ice cream was pretty good. Lemon flavor, then it had some yellow topping, and yeah, and then it had those sugar crystals on top.
And orange syrup.
Yeah, orange syrup. You've had that?
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. I didn't know the history of the church until I walked back, and then I got to know that it was the feast on 5th of August of Our Lady of Snows. That's where that's where the snow actually fell, and that's where the wealthy couple actually built this church. The church, if you go to see up, it's all gold. It's all gold. I was hoping something just. I'll hide it. I'll hide it. It's fine, because the men with the guns are so then, yes, that was the whole thing. And for me, overall, those 3 days were very important while being around at the tomb of Pope Francis, because I always wanted to meet Pope Francis. And currently I have. No, but I have not spoken one-on-one with him. I see my level is over here. I have that expectation that if I meet the Pope, I want to meet him face to face. While I was really so this is another thing during Portugal, during the final mass when Pope Francis was actually celebrating the mass. Okay, I don't know why I was very tired. Okay, and Portugal I actually had a fall and my leg was injured. Swollen up also, and I had a very tough time over there. And I still remember the last mass. I was praying, and I don't know why. Not that I didn't like Pope Francis, but I was praying, and I prayed, Jesus, please. I want the next Pope who's a native English speaker, because I don't understand this Portuguese and Spanish and Italian. I want a Pope who's a native English speaker. Not that I had anything to do, means I love Pope Francis, but this was my wish, or this was my prayer rather, it was not even my wish. And then God's grace, this time it was Pope Leo. So the only difference is when you have a native English speaker who's a Pope, the English is very understandable. Okay, I could understand the English what Pope Leo was speaking during the World Youth Day Mass, and I was pretty, I was very that was one prayer which was answered. So if people really believe that prayers don't get answered, I have a very weird prayer which got answered, and it's out of nowhere. When Pope Leo also got selected, I thought it was an Italian Pope. I didn't really think that he was an American Pope. So yeah, so that was the whole thing, and so my whole stay of those 3 days with Pope Francis's tomb was very special, because I just got to live that part of my life where I just wanted to meet Pope Francis. This is not what I thought about, but it was a blessing. And then the 4th day, okay. I don't know why, God really chose me for the duties what I got. I was given to have a volunteer at the Forgiveness Park. Okay, now the Forgiveness Park is basically a place where the confessions happen, and while it is easy, it's difficult also because it was summers, and then thousands of priests were available for confessions. I had to take the pilgrims to a particular location for this, and traveling up and down was very tiring. At the end of it, I just left my duty because I had not attended morning mass, so I had to kind of attend mass, and that was important to me. I went to St. Paul's Basilica outside the walls, and over there I managed to get my confession. So I was waiting to actually go to the Forgiveness Park for confession, but for some reason I got a confession over there, and that was the best part of it. Yeah, you can do it at the Forgiveness Park, but if you're getting it at one of the major basilicas, why to miss that chance? Because at Santa Maria I never got that chance because it was very crowded. Santa Maria, out of all the basilicas, was very crowded. Even Vatican was not that crowded. Okay, when I went to Vatican, I went it on a Wednesday Thursday audience on a Wednesday, it wasn't that crowded. But Santa Maria, I don't know why, for what reason. I think, and yeah, it was mostly because of Pope Francis, it was crowded. So we had a tough time because of that, like a lot of work, as in not tough time, but a lot of work. And then the best part was the next day, the last 2 days, they told us that we have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and our duty continued till the next morning 5 o'clock. They had not specified any break time or anything, so that was something which was very different. We had to give the food kits. Now the food kits was a very big challenge, because one is that at times some kits were spoiled, so that had to be thrown. You're dealing with food. I'm generally a person, I don't like to waste food. I don't throw food out. But like there was this one thing where, like, they had got these big crates where the boxes were there, and they were just giving the boxes away, and then suddenly something missed, and then the entire crate fell this way, and like those boxes just fell, and that fellow was like, what to do, what not to do, and like it's food at the end of it, can't be wasted. It was even worse because we were the ones welcoming the pilgrim, like we were the first face for the pilgrims. And then even they come getting tired, because even they are walking for quite some time. Luckily for us, morning buses were arranged, because we left at 5 o'clock from our place. We reached by around 6:30. By 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, we started the duties. Okay, there were a bit communication gaps as to what the volunteers were exactly supposed to do. But then finally, at the end of it, we didn't even, at least I didn't see who had a pass, who didn't have a pass. I just gave the food box. I was like, forget it. Let them get the food, because a lot of boxes were getting wasted. Nobody was repacking them. I am somebody who does not have packed food at all. I don't have those juices. But that particular day I realized I require that energy, so I was just having those juices, and then just giving everybody the boxes. My fingers were paining, yeah, it was hurting. It was like the box was big, and 2 tuna fish and 2 breads and some cold drink and another thing. So the box was a good 1 kg at least, and handing over the boxes, it was a big task. And then the next day again, because I had taken a lot of gifts, so I had to kind of exchange these gifts to people. So I just went and I exchanged it with all the nuns and all. I gave it to them, and I'm like, I'm from India, Indian dupatta, bindi, this, that. So this is what I did. I met a priest also. I gave him also like dupatta kind of thing from him. And he's like, yeah, I've been to Jubilee and all. He was somebody from New Zealand. And then we finished the day, and I'm like, everybody had given me prayer request and all. I was like, I should pray. Okay, if nothing, I should at least pray now. Okay, because while all these things are going on, okay, with your volunteering, you are, that prayer time was difficult. My last day, once I came back home, I freshened up. There was no water. There was no water, because everybody was having bath. All the volunteers were having bath. The hot water was not available. The cold water was there, and the cold water is ice cold water. So I was like, no, I'm waiting for the hot water. So I waited for some time, and the hot water came, and then somehow I managed. And then I decided, I'm like, I'll go to Vatican. And then something changed, and I said, no, I'll go to Carla Santa. That's the steps, the holy steps where Jesus walked up to Pontius Pilate. I think in the 11th or the 13th century, it was imported from Israel and kept over here. You cannot walk on those steps, you have to kneel down on those steps and go on top. A pretty good experience, because when I went to Portugal, I had gone to Fatima, and they had mentioned to me that I will be in security team, so I knew that I had to be 24/7 on my feet. So I had not kind of done that kneeling down walk, but so I was like, no, this is something what I have to do. So I was blessed enough to kind of have that going up the steps, and then that was my last day. And then I somehow just managed everything. Tired, I was with the last day. I actually thought I would not be with people, because everybody had their own things. But the moment I was moving out of my place, and And then I met another few volunteers, one from Poland and one from America. And we are like, come on, let's go. And then we three went together. And then the Polish lady and I were together. So the moment we finished St. John the Lateran, we wanted to go to the Basilica, but it was closed already. But then we came back to Vatican, and then we just spent some time at Vatican because that was like the last thing that we would be around. We spent some time over there, and then we had our food, and then we came back. The best part is when we came back to the place, okay, I was like, everybody will sleep. But I had my friends who were awake, okay, and they pulled me in, okay. She just pulled me in, Lee pulled me in, and she like, no, we are just like, having the national anthem of every country. Let's just be, let's just say. And then there were these guys, they were just going on like, Habibi. And they're like, guess on which place we are. I'm like, Dubai. No, we are not that Habibi. I'm like, you're like Egypt. I'm like, oh great, come on, let's walk like Egyptians. And then, having that fun with these guys, and then I also kind of sang the national anthem. I didn't want to do it, but then everybody was doing it, and there were these people from Tanzania who they sang their national anthem, and they were like a choir, okay, like really amazing voices. And then we kind of had that whole part. I was like, okay, fine, because I'd take a flight next morning, so I went on top and I, packed my bag and everything.